Our journey through Arizona began as a homecoming, revisiting places I knew as a teenager. But with each mile, this familiar state revealed its hidden side. From Tombstone's historic streets to treacherous mining trails, from thorny thickets to pine-covered mountains. Now we're heading into terrain that seems almost alien. The Cinder Hills near Flagstaff tells a story of fire and fury, where over 600 ancient volcanoes shaped this otherworldly landscape. Black volcanic sand stretches for miles, creating a playground unlike anything else in Arizona. But nature has surprises in store for us first. We climb higher into the mountains searching for alpine lakes. We'll discover that winter holds these elevations in an icy grip. This is an Arizona that teenage me never knew existed, where frozen wilderness meets volcanic desert. Join us on our Arizona bucket trip, presented by Onyx Offroad. As the first light crept across the desert this morning, we found ourselves surrounded by Arizona's most iconic resident, the mighty Saguaro Cactus. These ancient sentinels can live over 150 years, growing their first arm only after decades of patience. Standing sometimes 50 feet tall, they're found naturally only in the Sonoran Desert. I remember being fascinated by these giants as a teenager, but I never took the time to truly appreciate them. Now, watching the sunrise paint their silhouettes against the morning sky, I understand why they become such a powerful symbol of the American Southwest. Each one tells a story of survival, growing just inches per year, weathering intense desert summers, and providing shelter to the desert wildlife under their sturdy arms. What a gorgeous desert morning. Sean and I slept really good this morning, and while we were having our coffee, we talked about it. We're like, yeah, we're feeling refreshed. We're ready to go. And so this morning, we've got to still do a little bit more backtracking and then take a little bit of a detour to get to the nearest fuel station. Because if we kept going all the way back to where we got fuel before, it's like an hour and a half out of the way, so it'd be 3 hours round trip. So we've kind of found a way to make a little detour that will still connect us up to where we need to be. Now, once we get fuel, who knows what the day has in store for us? We may feel adventurous, or we may just push north. I don't know, but we'll just kind of see. That's how this whole adventure is going. But what a beautiful spot, and all these saguaro cactus around. Man, you just feel like you're in the Arizona desert. Our backtracking after reaching the closed road yesterday left our fuel reserves lower than planned. Out here in Arizona's backcountry, fuel stops are few and far between, each one requiring careful planning. We now have to carefully adjust our route, putting this wide open desert in front of us, trading it for the scenic, rugged trail we had planned. But this practical path should lead us to the nearest gas station. It's a reminder that even the best laid plans sometimes need to bend to the realities of remote travel. After a few hours on the trail and a nice windy backcountry road climbing an elevation, we found ourselves in Young, Arizona, just in time. Our fuel gauges were on empty. While I had jerry cans for backup, Sean's Ram was running on fumes. In a town this remote, you take what you can get. 87 octane and diesel were the only options at this single pump gas station, but they were exactly what we needed. We just left Young, Arizona, and we now have full fuel tanks. So that little bit of anxiety that we had is now gone. That's nice. And what a great little town. We talked to quite a few good folks there in Young. Now, just a little bit up the road, and we have turned off, and we are back on the dirt and heading north. No idea where we're going to end up. We'll get a few hours and start kind of playing it by ear, but right now we're just going to enjoy the drive. Winding through the pines, our path carved deeper into Arizona's high country. Sean had been itching to get his kayak wet since we started this trip, and a secluded mountain lake seemed like the perfect spot to take a break from the trails. The map showed several promising lakes tucked away up in these hills. As teenagers, my friends and I would talk about finding these hidden fishing spots, but we never ventured far enough off the beaten path to discover them. Now, years later, we're gonna finally track down a couple. We've put in the most miles in a single day on this trip so far.
Is it?
Yeah, we've put in a lot of miles. It's been pretty easy dirt road, actually a lot of pavement. And we saw this lake on the map and we were like, well, maybe that's a good lake to go put the kayak in, maybe do a little fishing. And well,
it's more of a skating rink.
Yeah, it got a little thin layer of ice on top. It's a little chilly. Sean's worried that he might get hypothermia if he falls in, which probably could be true. Although I will say, I saw you greeting some folks and he said, howdy. It's the hat, I'm telling you. I've never heard Sean say howdy ever.
Except yesterday and the day before.
We're gonna have a little lunch and then just press on. We'll just keep going until we find, I don't know, I guess some trouble to get into. The next trail ahead promised another lake. Winding through increasingly dense pines and challenging terrain, each tight squeeze between trees required our full attention to save our paint and our gear. But the promise of a perfect fishing spot kept us pushing forward. Sean's truck made quick work of this rocky climb, but 40-inch tires tend to make everything look easy. The Gladiator would have navigated this without fuss normally, but with the trailer in tow, it required just a little extra attention with my tire placement and throttle control. Sometimes the best spots require the most effort to reach.
Keep going.
For about the last half hour or so, we've been on this really rugged trail going down to this lake. And as we were coming up, there was two options. There was an easy option, looks like it went down to a public campground. And then there was this trail, which looked fun and rugged. And of course, Sean got on the radio just a little while ago. He's like, this may not go all the way to the lake. Let me turn the camera around and get Sean's impression here. My friend, I'm out of breath. I just walked about a quarter mile down, quarter mile back up.
Taking that one for the team.
Because I figured we should probably investigate.
Doesn't go to the lake.
Would you like to know what I found? I found a park bench and a big open area that you cannot see the lake from.
Of course.
So, yet again, we've had another Are we calling them misadventures?
Misadventure.
Misadventure. So we can head back. Hey, it's been a fun, rugged trail. I mean, let's be honest, let's have fun.
Yeah, no, it's been fun.
Yeah, but let's go see if we can get on that easy one and get to the lake.
Sure.
Another dead end, another lesson in backcountry exploration. While the lake and primitive campground we eventually found weren't quite what we had hoped for, these detours and discoveries are what make adventure so special. Every closed trail and low reservoir just adds to the story, pushing us further into Arizona's remote corners in search of that perfect spot. Okay, campground's closed, plus we don't want to camp at this high of elevation anyway. It's going to be super cold up here.
Mm-hmm.
I think we need to try to get down a little bit, and I was using Onyx's new navigation program, and there's another lake about an hour and a half from here. I've actually camped there before, and it's down about 1,500 feet, so it'll be warmer.
Sure.
But there is a boat ramp there, so potentially in the morning we could, you could put your kayak out there, we could fish, who knows.
Okay.
So it's about an hour and a half away, and we're going to be losing daylight about that time anyway, so that's probably the best call. So
Let's do it.
do it. As daylight faded to dusk, our KC highlights transformed the trail into daytime. Having reliable off-road lighting isn't just about performance, it's about practicality. Winter's short days often mean driving after sunset, especially when you're searching for that perfect campsite. With just a hint of light left in the sky, we finally found camp. While it isn't exactly the fishing spot we'd hoped for, the shoreline offered a perfect place to set up, and we'll have a better assessment in the morning, but this lake looks frozen as well. Poor Sean. 3 lakes and his kayak's still gonna collect dust at the top of his camper. All right, after an hour and a half since leaving the last lake, we've arrived to camp, and yes, in the dark, but over in the distance here is a frozen lake that we're camped next to. We're in a dispersed camping area. There's a fire ring, a trail that led right down to the beach. This is gonna be perfect, although it's a little chilly, yeah, Sean?
It's a little chilly.
Even for a Canadian.
Hey, anything below freezing is unpleasant.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on today?
It was a lot of road travel. We had to make some distance. So,
Yeah.
Not every day can be as exciting as the last few.
Yeah, we've had some pretty good days, but today was a little slower, but I think we've got some things in store in the next couple of days.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to take a look at the map and just kind of figure out a few waypoints to hit.
Yeah, speaking of the map, Onyx Offroad actually helped us find this spot.
Yeah.
How's Onyx been working for you?
Dude, it's fantastic. We literally couldn't have planned this trip out the way that we have without that and being able to share the waypoints between us.
Yeah.
It's been so useful because we can just refer to reference points on the map to each other on the radio.
Yeah.
And it's been
Yeah,
good.
It's been really good. Okay, we had a few different options for dinner tonight, and we opted to go with some chicken lo mein. It's frozen, so all we have to do is heat it up in the pot, and we're using the induction oven, which I like using when it's cold like this because I don't have any problem with heating this right up. You'd be surprised how good a pre-packaged meal like this tastes after a long day and a chilly night. Sean and I were talking over dinner about how cold it is and some of the things we have to consider in camping in temperatures like this.
So it's about -1.
That is 30 degrees.
Did you fill up your water tank?
So I filled it up before I left. I'm about half full right now.
I didn't fill up mine at all because I was thinking if it freezes,
Yeah.
I just brought some jugs that I'm keeping inside of my camper.
That's a good idea. I didn't do that. I did buy a 12 volt pad has adhesive that sticks to the water tank, and you wire that up, and you can run that when you need to. And all I have to do is remove the skid plate that covers my water tank.
All you have to do is install it.
All I have to do is install it, and it's not installed tonight. So this might be one of the coldest nights I've ever camped with the trailer, so we'll see how it does. I'm going to have the heater on inside, so maybe there's
How
some
close
radiant
is the tank to the heat?
I mean, well, it's stuck right to the floor, I think. So
So it's close to the cold ground?
yeah.
That's perfect.
But you know, like all this plumbing and stuff, I'm
right.
going to have to
Yeah, that's the part that's concerning.
I'm going to leave valves open and stuff.
Yeah.
How about batteries? How are your batteries in the cold?
So as far as I know, my batteries are self-heating.
Yeah.
They're Dakota lithium batteries. I think they just automatically start heating if it gets too cold.
Yeah.
My old batteries I used to have one of those heating pads. I'd used to keep the battery on, because otherwise when it goes below zero, it won't charge. And then if it stays below zero the whole rest of your trip, for example, you've got no power. And that happened to me, and it was awful. So it's good. It's good that we've got new technology.
Right.
What batteries have you got in this?
I put two. It came with gel batteries, but I swapped them out for lithium batteries, and they're underneath the little cabinet, but they're inside the trailer, so I think they'll be fine.
They're lithium. Do they self-heat, or they're?
I don't think they're self-heating, but they shouldn't get.
But they can get
cold.
heat from your heater inside.
I think so. I think so. All
We've,
right.
we've both got heaters.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you, what kind of heater do you have?
So I have I think it's a Truma.
Okay.
Or is it? I think it's actually a Webasto with a Truma controller or something.
But it's propane.
It's propane. Yeah, it's just a propane heater, but it's basically the same controller setup that you've got on yours.
And what are you going to set it at tonight?
I always set it at 23 because
That means nothing to me.
Celsius. But I don't like it turning off.
Yeah.
So mine has a night mode.
Right.
I was telling you about before. We can make it quiet and kind of go low.
Yeah.
So what I do is I crack a vent and I put it at 23 so that it never gets to 23.
Yeah.
It's just, I could turn it to 50. It wouldn't make a difference, right?
And you said, what size propane bottles are you using?
I got 10-pound propane tanks that last me about 5 to 7 nights, depending on the conditions and how long I'm running it.
Okay.
I've got 3 of those. One on the back of mounted to the back of the 4-wheel camper, and 2 in the little compartment.
Okay. Well, I have the Truma diesel heater in here, and it's got a 3-gallon, maybe it's like a 3.5-gallon diesel tank. And I typically run it at about 60 degrees Fahrenheit, and that'll last me, I mean, winter are longer nights, right? So it's running a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But it's typically that'll run me about 4 nights. And it keeps it pretty comfortable in there. So, yeah. So, all right, well, I think we're good. My hands are cold.
We're pretty well prepped. We needed gloves. We got all of the things, all of the expensive gear, and no gloves.
Oh, I have gloves.
So
I just need to go put them on.
The typical dilemma that we run into.
Yeah.
But
cool. That's correct. Thermometer is reading 25 degrees this morning in Arizona. And this would not be our coldest night camping of this trip. That morning is still to come. This lake we are next to seems to have not fared well over the last several years of drought, but what is left this morning is partially frozen and has become a sanctuary for hundreds of waterfowl, likely American coots on their annual migration south. These adapted birds had found one of the last unfrozen patches of water, clustering together for warmth and safety, almost doing a bit of a dance in the water this morning. Mesmerizing to watch. While most of us think of Arizona as a desert wasteland, it's actually a crucial stop on the Pacific Flyway, a major north-south route for migrating birds. This was Arizona showing us yet another side of herself, one where the desert heat feels like a distant memory. Today and tomorrow and the next day are going to be completely different from this. Whew. It's cold. And I will say this is the first time I've ever been in Arizona and camped next to a frozen lake. I think it's like 26 degrees this morning. Yeah, it was chilly. The heater in the Patriot Camper's tent was running full time. But we brought all the things. We knew it was going to be cold. I didn't know it was going to be this cold. But a beautiful, calm morning. We're up early. We've already had coffee. We're going to pack up. Our goal is to go to Flagstaff this morning. And then we're going to go to a very unique place. We've been to a lot of different kind of terrains and landscapes, but where we're going to try to end up tonight is going to be completely different than any other thing that we've done so far. Before we leave though, Let's talk to Sean about him and his kayak. Sean, I see you put the kayak away already.
Yeah, I went out for a morning cruise on the lake.
Oh, you did?
It was, really smooth water.
I must have missed that.
Yeah, it's great.
This is the third lake. No joy, man.
They're all frozen a bit.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Well,
Arizona's cold.
Who knew Arizona would be this cold?
I went to all this work of mounting a kayak on my camper and hauling it on and off the truck every single day to not use it.
Well, there's still hope.
There's still hope. I'm not giving up hope.
Okay.
Maybe we'll find a river.
Maybe a river.
Rivers move.
Rivers move.
Yeah.
Looks like we're starting off on much rougher terrain today, and that's okay. I appreciate the variety in all of this trip. I'm thankful to be in the Jeep though, with the heater on and starting to warm up. You know, the younger me in my day would have avoided camping in weather like this at all costs. But now, you know, over the years, I've just realized that it's more important to get out here and have an adventure and make some great memories. And you just gotta be prepared. You've gotta bring the right clothing and have the right heater if that's what you need. Just the right sleeping gear. It's super important. Don't let rain or snow or cold weather keep you from going out. This has just been an amazing time out here with Sean, and had it been, you know, me in the younger years, I'd have been like, nah, we're not gonna do that. And now I'm a little wiser. I'm like, oh, let's go tackle this place. The map for this next section of trail showed a simple connecting trail that would get us to Flagstaff. A few hours, we thought, but Arizona had other plans. What lay ahead was a relentless maze of rocky terrain that would slow us way down, test our patience and determination. Just a little before 12 o'clock. We are still not in Flagstaff. We left camp early this morning with the hopes to get to Flagstaff so we could visit some friends, which we're still gonna do, and get some groceries and then continue on. We thought we would have been there probably a couple hours ago, but it has been really slow going, except for one section where we were just cruising along. These trees, these rocks, these ruts have really kept the pace down. Hour after painful hour, we crawled over these endless rocks. What started as a challenging trail had become an exercise in endurance. Our rigs were handling it fine, but the constant jolting and the slow pace was wearing us both mentally and physically. The novelty of technical driving had long since faded into a simple desire to reach pavement. Sometimes the adventure isn't about finding the hardest path. It's about knowing which trails add to the journey and which ones just add hours. This section definitely fell into the latter category. As Flagstaff grew closer, we couldn't help but dream about smoother roads. Lessons learned are part of any journey, and this one was crystal clear. Next time, we'd choose a different route. Well, it took a lot longer to get off the trail today than expected, but we made it to Flagstaff, got some fuel, and now we're visiting my good friends here at KC Highlights. They've been a big supporter of the channel for a long time, and anytime I'm in town, I always stop by and say hello. After checking out what was new at the KC facility and a quick reunion with friends, Sean and I headed towards one of Arizona's most unique landscapes, the Cinder Hills. Well, it's good to restock in Flagstaff and go see the guys at KC. Now we're gonna go to somewhere that's completely different to all the unique terrains we've ever been, man. I'm excited to show you this place.
I'm excited to see it. I've heard about it when I've been down here for Overland Expo and you know, people talk about coming to camp here and saying it's a nice place to camp, so I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, Cinders is really unique. There's just all kinds of volcanic activity that's just transformed this landscape over the years. And I've been here a couple times, but I haven't really just like spent time exploring, so I'm excited to maybe do a little bit of that today and tomorrow before we get back on the PDR. So I'm excited to see what we find and maybe what kind of trouble we get into.
I like getting into trouble.
I know you do. The Cinder Hills tells a story of ancient volcanoes where over 600 cinder cones once spewed molten rock across the land. Now this volcanic playground stretches as far as the eye can see. It's black sand, creating an otherworldly terrain. As we explored the loose cinder fields, each turn promised something more dramatic, and the views that would await us shortly would make every slipping tire in this thick sand worth it. A perspective of Arizona that even a teenage me never knew existed. There's lots to do out of the cinders. You can go hit a trail, you can go climb a mountain, you can come out here to the wide open area and just get after it. There's lots of whoops and bumps you can see, and I'm thankful that I upgraded the shocks on the Gladiator. These external bypass 8100s from Bilstein, man, have made such a dramatic difference. If I didn't have the trailer in tow, I would bomb through here to really test them out. But right now, I mean, it just feels so smooth. Even though there's a lot of ups and downs, the truck is very stable, and I'm happy about that. All right, we're gonna venture up into the forest a little bit and start looking for camp. As the sun was beginning to set and we started looking for camp, Sean found a trail that looked like it climbed up to the top of one of the cinders. So here we go, that trouble that he was going to get us into.
Are we climbing a volcano right now?
We are climbing a volcano right now. So Sean had this bright idea to climb this volcano, and it's loose sand and it's pretty steep, and I got the trailer back there. Jeep is working hard. We're almost to the top. Woo! So this is fun, guys. This is fun. And the views, oh my gosh, the views are incredible up here. Oh, he made it to the top. Copy that, I'm almost right there with you. Oh, look at that view, that's incredible. It was the steepest, loosest climb I've ever done with a trailer.
Yeah.
But worth it, great view.
Yeah.
But we're not camping up here.
No. It is really cold.
It's really cold and windy.
The sun's about to go down.
Hey Sean, you remember that time we climbed a volcano? It took us a little driving around to, one, find a spot that wasn't in the wind, and two, that was level and somewhat scenic. And I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's a crater way up there. It's kind of cool. And the sky, we're about to get an amazing sunset. Oh yeah, it's already turning red. that's gorgeous. What do you think about the cinders, buddy? What's your overall impression? Was it worth it?
The volcano made it.
Yeah.
You know? At first I was like, just driving around on some black sand and lots of whoops, and I was like, I kind of want to drive on top of this volcano. That kind of looks like a road to get to the top of the volcano. We're on top of the volcano.
Yeah, we were screaming, hooting, and hollering the whole time. Definitely worth it. All right, what's dinner plan?
I'm going to make pulled pork sandwiches.
Ooh, that sounds good. With the black cinder cones off in the distance, the aroma of pulled pork filled our camp. These are the moments that make challenging days worth it. Good food, great company, and a view that reminds you why you venture off the beaten path. The next leg of our journey is going to bring us closer to the Grand Canyon, but tonight we had our own slice of Arizona perfection.